Rest in power, Linda Masarira, the woman who fought for Zimbabwe and was left to fight alone when she needed help most. With Zimbabwe. Today's broadcast is different. There is no comedy, there is no jokes, and it because yesterday morning, Sunday, May 24, 2026, Zimbabwe woke up to news that stopped people mid-sentence, stopped phones mid-scroll, made grown people sit down and stare at a wall for a moment. Linda Tsungirirai Masarira is gone, 43 years old, gone at Parirenyatwa group of hospitals in Harare early Sunday morning. 2 days after a friend spent hours with her at the office and said she seemed perfectly fine. Zimbabwe lost a voice yesterday, a complicated, controversial, fiercely independent, loudly opinionated, completely irreplaceable voice. And the story of how she died and who was there for her when she needed help is a story that every Zimbabwean needs to hear. Right, we are going to tell it honestly, with respect, with no punches pulled, because Linda Masarira deserves the truth told about her life and her death. Rest in power, Linda. This one is for you. So, who was Linda Masarira, the woman before the controversy, right? Before the debates, before the Cape 3 arguments, before the social media battles, before the political pivots that divided Zimbabwe's opinion about her, there was a woman who started her public life fighting for people who had nothing. Linda Tsungirirai Masarira was a leading advocate for the rights of women and children. She entered politics first as a member of the People's Democratic Party led by Tendai Biti. Before serving as spokesperson for the Thokozani Kupe-led MDCT, she founded LEAD, the Labour, Economics and African Democrats, in April 2019. She was jailed for her activism. She was tear-gassed in the streets. She showed up to demonstrations when showing up cost something. She was the kind of person who would stand in the rain outside the government building and shout until someone opened a window. Not because it was comfortable, but because the people she represented had nobody else willing to stand in the rain. Right? In 2023, she attempted to run for president but was blocked after the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission raised nomination fees from $1,000 to $20,000 overnight, a move she publicly condemned as designed to exclude ordinary Zimbabweans from meaningful political participation. A woman who tried to run for president and was priced out by a system that raised the entry fee by 2,000% right before nominations closed. That detail, that specific moment, tells you everything about both the system and the woman. The system raised the barrier. Linda Masarira named it publicly and kept going anyway. That is who she was at her core, the woman who kept going anyway. Let's talk about the final years, a private battle in public silence. Now, let us talk about what was happening behind the public face, because Rutendo Matinyarare, who was her close friend and confidant, despite their many public political disagreements with others, he has broken his silence about the reality of Linda's final years. Matinyarare revealed, in the last few years after COVID, she struggled with respiratory issues, diabetes, and heart complications. She constantly needed assistance to pay very costly health bills, and government never helped, despite the huge role she played for them. Listen to that again, every word of it. Respiratory issues, diabetes, heart complications, post-COVID, chronic, expensive, unaffordable on a small part president's non-existent salary. She knocked on doors, she asked for help, and the doors were locked. Close associates confirmed she had been battling health challenges for some time, but had recently appeared to be recovering. Her friend, Dr. Abigail Mpambi, said, I was with her on Friday and we spent several hours together at my office. She was fine and there was no sign that something like this would happen. Friday, she was fine. Sunday morning, she was gone. Masarira reportedly died in the early hours of Sunday at Parirenyatwa group of hospitals. Parirenyatwa, Zimbabwe's premier public referral hospital. The same hospital system that MP Ropafadzo Makumire described on Citizens Voice Network as lacking basic medication, clean beds, running water, and blankets. The same hospital system that received $30 million in sugar tax money that was supposed to buy cancer machines and produced two. Only two. The same hospital system that Linda Masarira, right up to her final weeks, was publicly defending as part of her support for CAB 3 and the Second Republic. She died in the system she defended without receiving the help she needed from the people she defended it for. Let's talk about the political journey, complicated, human, and worth understanding. Let us be honest about the complexity of Linda Masarira's political journey, because Panabam Zimbabwe 1, we do not do her geography. We respect people enough to tell their real story, right? Mure Zimbabwe. Linda Masarira was not always what she became in her final years. She was once one of the most credible voices in Zimbabwe's democratic opposition. A woman who had been through prison for who had been through prison for her convictions, who had street credibility that very few politicians on either side of the divide could match. And then came the pivot, the Pollard years, the alignment with the Mnangagwa administration, her involvement with Pollard. Mnangagwa's political actors dialogue, Pollard, led to accusations of being too close to ZANU-PF, a charge she constantly denied, maintaining that her engagement was for the betterment of Zimbabwe. And right up to her death, just days before she passed, Lead, under Masarira's leadership, conditionally begged CAB 3. Lead, the political party. The bill designed to extend the terms of the politicians who refused to help pay her medical bills. She begged it days before she died. There is no version of that detail that is not heartbreaking. A woman who battled post-COVID complications, diabetes, and heart failure, spending her remaining energy advocating for a constitutional amendment bill that benefits people who would not spend $1 on her cure. We are not going to mock that. We are not going to use it as a political ammunition. We are going to call it what it is, a tragedy, a human being who made choices, as all human beings do, and who paid a price that none of us would wish on anyone. The eulogy that should embarrass everyone who delivered it. Now, family, the part that Rutendo Matinyarare was right to be furious about, and the part that Panabam Zimbabwe 1 would not let pass without comment. Following her death, government spokesperson Nick Mangwana immediately issued a glowing tribute. We're quoting Nick Mangwana, Anzi, it is with a heavy heart that I mark the passing of Miss Linda Masarira, a loss that leaves us all diminished. Linda never hesitated to lend a voice to the nation's most pressing conversations. In her absence, we are left so much poorer. Nick Mangwana, the man who recently highlighted his engagement with Linda at CAB 3 discussions in Blawayo. The man who represents the government that Matinyarare says refused to help her with her medical bills, posting a eulogy on X within hours of Linda's death. Hansi, we are left so much poorer. Zimbabwe is poorer for Linda Masarira's death. That is true, genuinely, completely true. But here is the question that Matinyarare asked, and that us, we are also going to be asking. Where was this appreciation when she needed it? Where was the she leaves us poorer energy when she was asking for help with her medical bills? Where was a loss that leaves us all diminished when Linda Masarira was trying to afford a respiratory treatment and heart medication at a hospital the government has systematically defunded? The regime has plenty of money for luxury vehicles, for private jets that cost $18,000 per hour, for political campaigns, for billboard slogans about Vision 2030, for CAB 3 legal fees that allegedly ran to $200 million, for gold bars on midnight flights to Dubai, but not for Linda Masarira's medical bills. They will fund a lavish funeral. Watch. They will make it a state occasion. They will give speeches, they will put a name on something, and they will do it all. They will do all of it after refusing to do the one thing that might have kept her alive. Happy to pay for the casket, wouldn't pay for the cure. Here is the hardest truth of this broadcast, Mure Zimbabwe. And we say it not with cruelty, but with the full weight of what it means. Linda Masarira died in Zimbabwe's public healthcare system, the same public healthcare system that has been systematically defunded while political elites flew on private jets and bought luxury vehicles. The same system where women give birth on floors, where there are no blankets, where cancer patients die waiting for machines that a $30 million tax was supposed to buy. She defended that system publicly, loudly, right up to the end. And the system did not defend her. That is not a reason to mock her. It is a reason to be furious at the system because Linda Masarira is not the first Zimbabwean to be failed by broken public health care. She will not be the last. The difference is that she was famous enough for the story to be told and for the hypocrisy of the eulogies to be called out publicly. For every Linda Masarira who gets a Nick Mangwana tribute, there are thousands of ordinary Zimbabweans dying in those same wards with no famous friends, no political connections, and no one to write about the gap between the system's promises and its reality. The medicine of ZANU-PF's neglect spares absolutely no one, not even the people who defended it. Zimbabwe, rest in peace, rest in power. A final word. Linda Tsungirirai Masarira, born 1983, died May 24th, 2026, aged 43, trade unionist, activist, women's rights advocate, children's rights defender, political pioneer, lead party founder and president, former presidential candidate, one of Zimbabwe's most recognizable female political voices. She made choices that divided Zimbabwe's opinion. She took positions that cost the alliances. She pivoted in directions that her former colleagues found it difficult to understand. She was loud, opinionated, fierce, and unapologetically herself in a political environment that rewards quiet compliance and punishes independent voices. And in her final years, when her body was failing her and the bills were mounting and the doors were locked, she kept showing up, kept speaking, kept pushing, because that is who Linda Masarira was at the most fundamental level. The woman who kept going anyway. Zimbabwe lost that woman today, and regardless of what we thought about her political positions, we can all agree that the country is genuinely miserably poorer for her absence. May she rest in eternal peace. May her children be held with love. May the people who locked their doors when she knocked on them have the decency to sit with what they did after they finished posting their tributes. And may Zimbabwe build the healthcare system that Linda Masarira and every Zimbabwean deserves. Not because it is politically convenient, but because it is right. Rest in power, Linda. Zimbabwe saw you even when they pretended not to. So, Zimbabwe, there is also a very good possibility, a good, she was struggling now, with health problems, right? And when you're struggling with health problems and you can't pay for these bills, you try to appease those who can. Maybe that's why she started supporting Cab 3. We will never know now that she's gone. But maybe that's why she started supporting Cab 3. Maybe Mbinga dzingagona kuti kubhadhara mabills ake. But at the end of the day, zvoita that Mbinga dziri more focused nekupa vana japresa ma 250,000 rather than kuita sei kubhadharira munhu akufa mabills. Subscribe kumzinda wevanhu. Today we pause the political battles to honor a life. Share this tribute with anyone who knew Linda Masarira. Drop your memories of her in the comments, the woman she was, the fights she picked, the voice she brought. Smash the like button and support independent journalism through join and super thanks. Rest is Linda. Peace. Thank you for watching.